Hello, everybody. This is Insurance Buddies.
Yeah, another episode. This is like our third episode or so.
This gentleman right here beside us is not just the mayor, but my mayor of South Charleston, Mr. Frank Mullens.
Thank you.
The Honorable Frank Mullens
Thank
Jr.
you.
Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it very much, being our guests.
Thanks for having me.
So we try to keep it a little bit lighthearted and a little bit, we're just trying to not be too formal or anything
That's
like
kind
that.
of like.
That's it. That's it. So next few minutes, we're going to try to keep it short, see if we can keep it about 30 minutes or under. Everybody's time is important and valuable. Yours is a lot more important and valuable than ours.
I think he's
So
busy right now. He's got a few
not
projects.
not us. We're probably going to go make a couple more TikToks and everything after we're done here. So, but if you wouldn't mind,
Yes.
You've been mayor since '07. Could you give us a little bit of background about yourself? How did the journey get you to the mayor's office?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I actually started my career at the South Charleston Community Center as a lifeguard when I was 19 years old in college, and that's where I started. Actually, I started working at the community center before it was open.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was a few weeks before it opened. We're putting together lockers and they're doing all the dirty work to get it ready. So that's where I started my career. Worked down there for a few years, and actually about 6 years there, and then I was promoted to tax collector. So I was tax collector for 2 years. Went back to the community center as my first department head job as director of public works there, and then from there I went recreation director at the community center, and then I went from there to director of public works and engineering, which is probably it's the biggest job in the city other than what I'm sitting in now. And it's because engineering has got about 6 departments wrapped into one, and then I was there for 14 years, finally stayed somewhere a little bit longer than 2 years.
Mhm.
And so, it just kind of evolved into this and came time, I was there 14 years. Then it came time in '07. I thought it was time for me to run. And I didn't think there was anybody out there that was more qualified than me, being I started from the bottom, worked my way up, and here I am. So here I am today. That's kind of how it all started.
18 years later.
Almost 19. Yeah.
An amazing job.
Yeah.
Amazing job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I got a great staff, and that means a lot.
That's
You-
good.
So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of projects
Yeah.
in your career.
Yeah.
And let's talk about
Yeah.
a few of those.
Okay.
One that's actually brand new to the public is the opening of the bridge across Jefferson Road.
Yeah.
Talk about that project a little bit. How hard was it to get that together?
Well, that's another interesting story. I mean, when I was public works director, of course, I started in 1992 there, and I remember it was in the early 90s. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but it was Shelley Moore Capito. Still remember she was a congresswoman at the time and came and gave a check to the state for $750,000 to do the engineering of that project. So that tells you how long that project has been on the books. So I'm thinking it was somewhere between 95 and 96. Target wasn't there. The ice arena wasn't there. None of that was there. We were standing out there in a pile of dirt when she handed us that check. So it's a state of West Virginia project. It's not a city project, but we had our hands in it since the beginning. Matter of fact, I think we were pretty influential in getting the bridge. They call it a flyover. I call it an overpass, but we just felt like if you didn't avoid the rail traffic, you're kind of wasting your time.
Right.
So we were pretty instrumental in that. It was just a money thing, it cost a few $1 million more to build the bridge, obviously, but we thought it was that important. So we've been involved with it with the state from day one. But a lot of people don't know this, but this is the highest traffic count in the state of West Virginia, right here where you guys are at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there are projects out there that were as important as the one we're doing at Jefferson Road, but I can't imagine there's one in West Virginia that was more important.
Right.
For what we have out there. So it's important. Now we're going to have a continuous flow once the roundabout's done. As you mentioned, one-way traffic northbound is open across the bridge, and southbound will open sometime midsummer.
Okay.
Mid to end summer, the southbound will open. The whole project should be completed by the end of this calendar year.
And where is that roundabout on?
Right underneath the overpass, right underneath the bridge. You can see them working on it. You can tell it's been defined now as you go underneath there.
Right. Okay.
And what that's going to do, and those of us who went through that intersection about 4 or 5 times a day, and you hit those lights at the wrong time, it takes longer to go through 2 lights than it does to get all the way to Charleston, probably.
That was called the light. I always refer to that as the light.
So now you have a continuous flow. You won't have that stopping and starting, and so that'll really, really help the flow of traffic through there. So we're looking forward to that completion, that's for sure. And what an economic development tool that is. That's been a big thing for us, and we're already getting a lot of interest in the property along Jefferson Road between where you guys are out here on Route 60 and the rail traffic and all turnpike. We got a lot of interest in that property already.
I remember the first day whenever I didn't even know the bridge was open yet. I was on my way to work and I was like, oh my goodness, where am I going? And I love that feeling of driving over that bridge, not going across those tracks. The traffic was a lot less already, and it was such a great feeling.
Isn't the view different?
The view is beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Something else that's close to us, because where we're located here in South Charleston, the Park Place development.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on a little bit about that? What progress has been made, because we can see the Starbucks and we see the Chick-fil-A over there already.
Yeah.
But what other tenants do you see coming on board? Is there a time frame all this might come together?
Yeah, time frame, yes, and the time frame is coming together right now as we speak. It's a good question, good question, good timing, because look, this actually started in 2016 when this development office walked into my office and said, "Hey, we're interested in doing something in South Charleston." Took them on a tour. They fell in love with this site, which was actually THF Realty that developed Quarter G. One of the developers out there was going to do exactly what we were doing back in 2007, 2008. If you all remember, that's when the bottom dropped out of the economy.
Yes.
And that project kind of went kaput after that. But so we picked the ball back up. It is a TIF project. For your listeners that don't know what that means, that's tax increment financing. And basically what that means is, in layman terms, is the sales tax dollars that are generated from this project in that TIF district, which is basically the fly ash pond. We still call it the fly ash pond. And we have like a kite tail that goes out Quarter G. That's our TIF district. All the sales tax, the 6% sales tax that normally goes to the state, will still go to the state, but it circles back and comes to the TIF district, and it pays for public improvement projects. A portion of it will pay for Jefferson Road. A portion of it pays for the remediation of the pond. So we have we're the only city in the state of West Virginia that has two TIFs. We have a sales tax TIF and a real estate TIF. So that increment of that property, for example, maybe have been $2-3 million piece of property when it was a fly ash pond. Now will be a $60 to $80 million piece of property as a shopping center. That increment goes to pay off for the remediation of the pond. That's the property tax. The sales tax will then go to pay for public improvement projects like Jefferson Road, like a sanitary sewer system out Quarter G. Our stops the Holiday Inn Express. I like to see it go on out Quarter G to my visions for South Charleston to grow to the Lincoln County line. We're almost there. We're at the ridges. If you're familiar with where the ridges
Oh,
are,
absolutely.
we're all the way to there now. And so the plan is to have more sophisticated sewer. Right now, you have basically septic systems and package plants is what you have out there now. So we'll have a more sophisticated system out there, and we're going to build a new community center.
We were actually going to talk to you about that. We're hearing this.
Yeah, that's true. We've been underwater 9 times over here. You know, it's in a floodplain, and the roof needs to be replaced, which is about a $6 million replacement and things like. You don't want to put $6 million in a building that's in a floodplain, right? Doesn't make sense.
So what tenants do you have right now over here at Park Place?
Other than obviously what you can see, I can announce to you here that obviously. And it's not a secret. Kroger.
Oh yeah.
Kroger Marketplace will start construction in July. As a matter of fact, they're marketing. You guys will get a scoop here. Their marketing people called my office last week to let me know. They said, "Mayor, we want you to be the first to know. We're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony on July 24th."
Okay.
So
all right,
we're doing that on July. Now I think I anticipate construction to actually start prior to that.
Yeah.
That'll just be when they come in and do the formal. I think you'll see them starting to move in like the first week of July. Okay. And so that will start then. We have a Mission Barbecue, which is going to be right across the street from where Chick-fil-A is. If you go into entryway, Chick-fil-A will be on your left. Mission Barbecue will be on your right. I've never been to one, but everybody that's been to one tells me they're wonderful.
I'm excited. That's my favorite kind of food.
Yeah. So the people that don't know, they're listening, that they're a business that was created by veterans. And it has a military and a veteran kind of theme to it. And they have some understand they'll bring even like a truck or a Jeep or something that sits in the parking lot from the military. They have a huge American flag. They play the national anthem every day. My city engineer was in one of Ohio. He said, "I'm eating lunch. Next thing I know, everybody's standing up and they're playing the national anthem in the school." So it's got a pretty cool concept. So they're coming, and those are the two that you'll see start construction. I think they're scheduled to start in September, if I'm not mistaken. And then we'll see from that point on. Okay. We are actually full if we want to be. We have letters of intent to fill, which will be 24 to 26 new businesses and restaurants. I'm anticipating 6 to 8 restaurants. The rest will be pretty much retail. We go to Las Vegas every year. I don't. I send staff. I'm not a big traveler. I let them go out there and do that themselves. I got to run the city.
I understand. Yeah, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But that's the big retail trade show in
Right.
the country's in Las
Right.
Vegas every year. So we go there and we recruit all the time. But if we want to be full tomorrow, we're full tomorrow.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds great. And just to let you know, we're trying to get Jeremy to buy a golf cart because we're directly adjacent to Park Place.
Yeah.
And those people don't know, Park Place is going to be right off exit 54, off I-64 in South Charleston. It's convenient, going to be convenient to get to. It's really convenient to get to us, but we're trying to get that golf cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we passed legislation a few years ago that makes that legal in South Charleston.
There we go.
There we go.
I can't say that includes state highway, but we did pass it for our secondary roads to be able to do that.
So something we've noticed here recently, just open up farmers market.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's an idea I've had actually for a long time. I don't have a magic answer as to why we pulled the trigger on it now, other than it just seemed to be a good time and a good fit with Park Place and Jefferson Road and W Medicine and all the great things we have going on in South Charleston. Just seemed the right time to pull the plug on it. And also, and it was probably the most anticipated ribbon cutting that I've been around a long time. And the feedback we got from the public about the farm market was amazing.
Right.
And you guys can see it because you're right across the street, but there's a lot of,
It's hard to find a place to park over.
Yeah, it is.
It's so popular.
And there'll also be river access there shortly as well. We're working with the DNR. We'll have a boat ramp there, and that'll be the next project right beside it. And we're going to have bass fishing competitions there, and so that's going to be a busy place.
Eat corn on the river.
Eat corn on the river. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Sounds good. So, as mayor, you said almost 19 years.
Yeah.
What do you feel has been your greatest accomplishment?
And I've been asked that question before. That's a tough one. And since I've been doing it as long as I'm doing it, I'm glad I don't have just one thing to answer that with. I'm glad we have a lot of things we can talk about. But, other than the physical things that you can see, the capital improvements we've made and things like that, some of the things that's kind of the hidden that the public probably doesn't really know about. Like, I'm very proud of the fact that we've had for well over a decade, I think it's 14 or 15 straight years, we've had what we call an unqualified audit from the state, which it means unqualified means there's been no findings.
Oh, that's great.
So our finances have been amazing. And our staff does a great job. And that's the other thing. I think it's not a real sexy answer, but I remember the press asked me this when I ran in 07. What's the first thing you're going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to hire the right people. I need to have the right team around me.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really cared for that answer. Didn't make good print, but that was truth. And that's something I'm really proud of now is this team of individuals, particularly my administrative staff, that they are amazing. They do a wonderful job. They make me sleep well at night. And you're only as good as your team around you. I don't care whether you're an administrator.
I tell Jeremy that all the time.
Yeah,
you're only as good as the team around you.
And again, I know that's not a sexy answer, but that's something that
my answer isn't sexy either.
All right.
I said you were relaxed.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Jeremy.
But so
that makes sense.
Proud of that part, and obviously the thing, economic development. I said from day one, we want to be the most business friendly city in the state of West Virginia. And I think we've accomplished that. We have the best services in the state of West Virginia by far, I think, and the cost. Where else do you get your garbage picked up twice a week?
Exactly.
$40 a quarter.
That's one of the things, I don't live in South Charleston. I live in Charleston, but everyone that I know, my friends that live in South Charleston, say it's the services.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest perks of living here.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. And recreation. And we have I think I think it was the Huntington, what do they call it? The Huntington, what's their newspaper?
Herald.
Yeah, they did a study one time around the state about recreation. I think we were number one in the state per capita, what you spent on recreation. I think it was by far like $700 some per person per capita in South Charleston. And so from our neighborhood playgrounds to Little Creek Park, and from our ice rink to the community center to the golf course, I mean, just things to do in South Charleston.
It's the happening place.
It's the happening place.
It really is.
It is, and I think that's what I'm most proud of. There's never one thing that brings a business to your community. There's never one thing that makes you a community. It takes a whole ball of wax to make it a whole community. We got to keep our eye on that fact.
Now, you spoke about building a new rec center.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about the location?
I'm not ready, not yet.
Okay.
But
now I heard though that there was going to be 2 new facilities.
Yes.
Is that still in the works?
That's my dream. And that's what we're working on. We hired an architect, ZMM Architects is on our bid for architect. We've been working with them. We have a preliminary conceptual design made. And I want to have 2 facilities. I want to have a health and wellness facility, and I want to have a small coliseum. It's going to sit, if I say small, it's going to be about a 3,500 seat coliseum for, like, if it's open up for basketball.
That's
game.
great.
South Charleston High School will be our in-house user. Obviously, they play here now. But I've always felt like there's a market that gets lost in the Civic Center that we could have down here in a smaller facility. So that's what we want to build here in South Charleston. We'll have that. It'll be a multi-purpose facility. Push the bleachers in. We'll have, I think it's 3 or 4 basketball courts. We can host AAU and traveling tournaments, travel soccer, indoor soccer. We can do concerts. We can do business expos. We can do just about everything you want to do in there. And then we'll have the health. Look, we've learned a lesson over here. So we have everything all in one building. It's okay. But when you have a high school basketball game, for example, and the parking lot's full and the crowd's going in and out of there, your regular customers just don't have an opportunity to do what they normally do. Come to the health club, go swimming, whatever.
Have a birthday party.
It's not a good mix to have two separate facilities on one campus, sharing that parking lot. That's our goal, and that's what we're trying to get accomplished.
So do you sort of have a location? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we do have one picked out. We haven't spoke to those owners, and they're excited to have us there.
Okay.
The funding mechanism is the TIF.
That's exactly.
That's the TIF, and we've known for years we needed a new facility.
Yeah.
The problem was how you gonna pay for it.
Right.
Now we have the funding mechanism to pay for it.
Oh,
And
good.
the beautiful thing for people who don't know about a TIF, the city of South Charleston does not go into long-term debt for this. This is a TIF district project, and the TIF pays the bills.
It's great.
Not the
That's
city.
amazing.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
That's why you're the mayor.
So we talked about that.
Yes, sir.
What is there anything 5 years from now?
Yeah.
Where do you see South Charleston 5 years from now?
Best shape it's been in since the Union Carbide days, if not more.
Oh, wow.
Because I think our right now we're probably, and I've been mayor since 07, but I've been with the city since 1982.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been around 43 years, and I've seen a lot of good times, and I've seen some tough times. But what we learned was, just like you can't put all your eggs, we were the chemical valley of the world, right? The chemical city of the world, South Charleston. That was on our welcome signs and everything. But all of our eggs were in one basket. When they left, our basket was empty, right? We were in trouble. So we had to be more diverse. And that's what I'm really focused on. We're going to have a very diverse economy in South Charleston. We're not going to be one-dimensional. And that way, I think that gives us more longevity of solvency, for lack of a better word, I guess. But, with WU Medicine in Spring Hill, that was our challenge. Spring Hill's been a challenge because of parking and just it's going through a transition. When I was a kid, you could do everything in Spring Hill. You could shop, you could eat.
Oh, yeah.
You could do it all. But we needed something. And I think WU coming here has been a shot in the arm that we've needed. You'll see growth there already starting to happen. We got some new businesses coming in there. Little General, Dunkin' Donuts is coming. There's a couple other ones I can announce later that are on their way, and it's all because of that new activity down there. But I think from Riverwalk to Thomas Hospital, you're going to see South Charleston trains change tremendously.
That's great.
And as I mentioned to you earlier, between where you guys are sitting here and the tracks, we got interest already in all that property. And so I think you're going to see it develop within the next 5 years as well, if not sooner.
Sounds great.
One last question.
Yeah.
A little bit different.
Uh-oh.
What is your favorite dessert?
I'm not much of a sweet guy. I eat a little bit. I don't know if I have a favorite dessert, but I'm just, what in the world? I never expected that one.
Now, wait a minute. When we started, you said you've got had every question.
Well, I don't think anybody's ever asked me that one. I'll be honest with you. I'll have to be honest with you. I don't, I would have to say Spring Hill Bakery hot dog.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Spring Hill Bakery hot dogs would have to be my favorite.
They're good.
Delicious.
They're very good.
It's delicious. Well, I think that's about it. We didn't have anything else. Is there anything else, Mr. Mayor, that you would like to mention or bring up?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we touched on most of everything.
Awesome.
Hope you can feel the enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
We're all-
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited about this because I've been a South Charleston resident since I was about 8 years old.
Okay.
I'm 40 now, so I've been here for 32 years, and I've just seen it grow so rapidly over my time. And I'm excited about all the projects you have going on, especially being right here so close to the office. And I'm looking forward to everything.
Good. Well, we're not done.
And what you've
We're
done.
not done.
Yeah.
We're not done. So, thank you all for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
We
you, guys.
appreciate it. Thank you, guys, for another episode of Insurance Buddies. And look forward to being here next time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.